Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. It's yours truly, Trudy, and I am back with another episode of your favorite podcast, Chaley. Let's talk. As you know, as we always do, let's get into the check in, see how everyone's doing. Here we go. How are you doing? How's your mom, your dad, brother, sister, aunties, uncles, cousins, nephew, nieces, pets, neighbors? How's your job doing? How are your friends? I hope they're all doing well. And let's check in into your weekend. How's it going? How has your week been? And hopefully next week you have a better week. Okay, not gonna ramble too much. Let's move on. All right, Chaley. So, in what's trending, we're gonna talk about this new trend that's been going on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but I did see this article pop up, and apparently, kids in school are hitting diabolical licks, and let's talk about it. So basically, a lick is when you steal something. So I guess these kids are going around filming themselves stealing school property or destroying school property as well. And I I really want to know what is wrong with these kids today. I mean, when I was in middle school, high school, I didn't really research to see what age group this is, but I'm guessing they're probably between the ages of 10 to maybe 16, 17, 18. I don't know. I don't know. Someone should double check. I should double check. I think these are like high school students. All right. So these are high school students. So they're probably around like 14 through 18. Anyway, why are these kids stealing and damaging school property and filming themselves? I would never do such a dumb thing. I guess that's what separates us, people who grew up without phones and stuff in our faces. I mean, when I was growing up, we had phones. I went to school, but things weren't like the internet wasn't massive and expansive like this, you know? We were posting stuff on Facebook. That's pretty much it. But we weren't doing crazy, stupid things like this. So, yeah, I guess that's what we get to look forward to now. Kids are hitting devious licks and they're proud about it and getting on social media and posting it on TikTok. What were we doing before TikTok? I guess it wasn't this, but that's where we are at right now. Another challenge. We moved from the milk crate to devious licks, and this time it's only it seems like it's high school students that are doing this, but I better not hear no more cases of devious licks going on. You're going to school to go learn, okay? Don't go to school to go steal. Get your education and get out of there. Don't go do anything that's counterproductive. All right? Let's move on. So our next topic in what's trending is Nicki Minaj. I like Nicki. Let me start off with that. I like Nicki. Nicki's cool. I like her music. But she's been in the news for her tweet about her cousin's friend's conundrum, or should I say issue, with getting the vaccine. So she tweeted that, quote, "My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married, and now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision and not bullied." I agree with the make sure you're comfortable with your decision part. Everything before that, it should have been kept in the drafts and not even typed and posted for everyone to see, because we're getting into, putting people's business out there. And honestly, I feel like this whole thing is getting dragged. It's very unnecessary because she didn't really say that she won't get the vaccine. She's just saying that she has questions, which is understandable. Everybody has questions before they get the vaccine. They want to know things about it before they actually do get the jab. So it's understandable that people have questions, but let's make sure we're not putting out false information. So I guess that's where everyone has the issue with that. This is not from a direct source. It's something that's heard through the grapevines, and that's what's causing the uproar. And everybody's mad. And honestly, I feel like we should just do what's, like she said, just do your, basically, everybody do your research. And if you're comfortable with getting the vaccine, get it. If you're not comfortable, that's up to you. Don't get it, I guess. But don't just go out there and put out false information, basically. And it's understandable if you have questions about things that's going on right now, because there's a lot of information being thrown at us, and it makes sense that people will always have questions. So I don't want to get too deep into this whole vaccine, whether to get it or not situation. But my stance on it is do what's best for you. Okay? But just in doing that, make sure you're not putting out false information. And also make sure you're not trying to be, what's the word? Mean, I guess, lightly put. Don't be mean to people who don't get the vaccine or people who do get the vaccine. We're not all going to see eye to eye, and somebody's reasoning for getting or not getting the vaccine may or may not make sense to you. So let people be whatever they decide to do. Okay? All right, Chaley, let's move on. All right. This is a segment I like to call Just Came Across My Desk. So it just came across my desk. I don't know how many people out there know this. If you knew this, hit me up. My email, chaley@letstalk@gmail.com. Did you know that EG and IE are not interchangeable and they're different? Like, I didn't know that. I did not know that. So when you're in English class or wherever, writing class, something, you know how we write sentences or paragraphs or whatever you're writing, and you want to give an example. We usually use EG to mean for example, but it's a Latin abbreviation that stands for exempli gratia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly because I did not take Latin. Okay, so bear with me. Exempli gratia. Okay, that's what EG stands for, and we use it to indicate that we're going to give an example of something. And then IE stands for id est. Again, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly because it's a Latin word, but id est means in other words. So you use that when you're trying to say something, you're trying to reiterate something. But I'm pretty sure, like most people, we've been using those two interchangeably and not known that they're not interchangeable. So I saw this pop up and I'm like, what? So you mean I got a degree and I didn't know that EG and IE are not interchangeable? So henceforth, I'm sharing it. So henceforth, people that didn't know, like me, we can know and do a better job going forward, so we won't be interchanging the two. So that's why I just wanted to share this with you in this segment called It Came Across My Desk, because this just came across my desk and I just had to share it. Charlie, here's a little humorous post I found that we can all get a tee-hee and a hee-hee and a caca and a ja-ja and a however you laugh out of. So a bot wrote an obituary, and I thought it was pretty humorous. And it goes, Brenda Tent retired from living at the age of old, surrounded by family and natural causes. A librarian from birth, Brenda was an avid collector of dust. She had a sweet heart and married her high school. She loved having hobbies and helping her sons to be disadvantaged youths. She had no horses, but thought she did. The church gave her a choir because she sang like a bird and looked like a bird, and Brenda was a bird. She owed us so many poems. The funeral will be held in 1977 at Heaven. In lieu of flowers, send more life. Send Brenda more life. And yeah, when I said I teared up, I'm sorry, but I couldn't even read this properly because I was still cracking up, laughing. And the part that really gets me is the in lieu of flowers, send Brenda more life. Like, but Brenda's already dead. How are we gonna send her more life? You know? But that's besides the point. Let's get into the meat of today's episode. So I kind of struggled with coming up with a topic for it because I had a few ideas that I was bouncing around, but I haven't decided on what I really wanted to talk about. So I think I'm just going to talk about one topic today, and then whatever else I had planned, I will talk about in subsequent. They'll probably just be their own standalone episodes. So I'll talk about those in the next episode. So it was either this topic that I'm about to talk about or two others. So I'm still like going back and forth. Okay, I'm rambling now. I'm still going back and forth trying to figure out what I should talk about. But I think I'll just go with this. So I recently saw an ad for a phone. Okay. And it just popped up in my mind how these phone companies, these phone makers are not really giving us much, you know? They're changing the camera capabilities, maybe giving us a new color, and then they're calling it innovation. Bro, like when the first phone came out, I'm pretty sure it was innovative for its time, but now in 2021, I don't know how many people will agree with me. I feel like phone makers have become lazy, you know? With every new release, it's always, and okay, this is just my opinion. I'm not a hardcore techie, so, but this is what a non-technical person, have seen throughout the years, like for a couple of years now. That's what I've been seeing. So that's where this opinion is coming from. But like it's coming from the lens of a person who's not like a hardcore techie, and so that's where understand where I'm coming from. So recently, the phones that we've had roll out, be it Samsung or iPhone or whoever, the other phone makers, you know, here in the US market, it's usually iPhone or Samsung. I'm pretty sure there are others, but those two reign supreme. But I feel like these phone makers are getting very, very comfortable with what they're doing, not really giving us anything that's life-changing. Technology always doesn't have to be life-changing, but with the amount of improvements that they've made to the cameras of the phones that are coming out lately, I sit back and I want to ask myself, are these people making cameras that we can make phone calls on, or are they in a business of making phones that we can do other things with? Because right now it feels like everyone's laser focus is on giving us a quality camera, and I appreciate it because, you know, I like taking pictures of myself. I am good for taking pictures, okay? But we have to stop and wonder, why are we shelling out so much money each and every time a new phone drops? Well, let me preface this by saying that not everybody shells out money every time a new phone drops, but the people that do they think about the fact that most of the specs are not that different? They might be a tiny or a fraction of a change, but not anything astronomical where you're like, oh yeah, I can see the difference between the phone that I have and the phone that I'm getting now, I really wonder if people think about that before they just go in for the new drop. And also, let's talk about the fact that these companies are so eager to sell us these phones with the camera being the main focus. Is that saying something about us as a society? Are we now more obsessed with looking at ourselves that they'd rather sell us a phone that has like the capability of a DSLR? Am I saying that correctly? A DSLR camera. I'm not technical again. DSLR camera or high tech, whatever the high tech cameras are called. Have we gotten to the point where we value looking crisp in 4K and in HD over like the basic functions of a phone? We've passed like so many thresholds lately, and I think it does have, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like we've gotten to the point in society where we're more obsessed with how we look. So I guess everybody wants a piece of it. Like weight loss companies want a piece of it. Exercise gym membership people, companies wants a piece of it. Even phone companies want a piece of it. They're selling phones to us and saying, "Hey, the camera's great. If you take not that this is what they're saying in their ads, but pretty much what I'm thinking is, oh, if the camera's great, then they would want to buy this phone and take awesome pictures so they can post on social media so everybody can see them." That type of thinking, that type of logic. So it just opens up the wide it just opens up Pandora's box. Okay. Why is every company out there trying to sell us on looks and like things that don't matter, basically? Because 30, 40, 50 years ago, cell phones weren't cell phones as we know it, cell phones as we have today and know it, weren't really a thing. And they thrived very well back in those days, like 50 years ago. Everybody was living their life. Granted, something else might have been what's important, but right now I feel like our lives just revolve around our phones so much. Like everything that we do, our phone is involved. And sometimes it's hard to separate yourself with your phone. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I use my phone as my alarm. I use my phone as my camera. I use my phone as a replacement for I have a computer, but I rarely use it because everything that I need to do, I find that I can do it on my phone. So having a phone is definitely a plus, but then again, it can be a negative because we're so attached. I'm using it as an alarm clock, whereas I could just get a traditional alarm clock, but no. I'm using it as a camera. I don't really take, like, if I had a traditional camera, would I be logging it around everywhere with me? Chances are no. So great. It's good for that. Also, my phone is how I listen to music. My phone is how I watch videos on YouTube. My phone is, surprise, surprise, how I make these podcasts and post it. So a lot of our lives, like a lot of things that we do in our lives has been compacted into this little thing that we have called the phone. And sometimes when it comes to separating ourselves from it, it becomes very, 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 very difficult because we're so used to having one thing being everything that we need. Remember, let me age myself a little bit. Remember back in the day when you had a phone, a camera, an iPod, or an MP3 player, and what else? Like you had 4 or 5 different gadgets, whereas we traded all those different gadgets in for one gadget that can do the work of all 4. And it's crazy. It's marvelous. It's marvelous and alarming at the same time, because it's marvelous because wow, we don't have to literally carry around 3, 4 different pieces of technology that each serve their own purpose. Now we only have one, and we can do all that with that one thing. But then it's hard at the same time, because when you get glued to your phone, everything that you need is on your phone. It's hard to distance yourself. If you just want to sit and read a book, like even reading, you can read books on your phone. So wow, we are so anchored to our phones. I'm pretty sure there are people out there that are not that anchored to their phones, which is great. Good for them. I wish I could be like them from time to time, try to disconnect from using my phone, but it's hard because my phone is how people reach me. My phone is how I reach other people. I check my email. I do all kinds of things on my phone. But when you just want to disconnect, it can be a little difficult because I don't have I don't have other things to, I don't know how to even explain it. It's just, let's just put it this way. For me, it's difficult to disconnect because my phone is so useful in different ways. So what I try to do is limit myself. It's hard, especially when I'm on these apps. So I try to, if there's let's take reading as an example. Instead of trying to read on my phone, I try to get physical books instead. So that's one less thing I have to do on my phone. So I don't feel like I'm always glued to my phone. You understand what I'm saying? So when it comes to reading, yeah, I might order a preview of a book on my phone to see if I like that book or not. But if I do end up liking the book, I would make an effort to order the physical book, so I'm not forced to read the book on my phone, basically. And I know some people might listen to this and be like, oh, it's not that deep. Like, the phone is useful and you don't have to feel like you're anchored to it, blah, 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 blah. But we need to really discuss how this one piece of technology has changed our life for the better. And on the flip side, a little bit for the worse, because if we were to take away phones today, how many people would be able, something like remembering phone numbers? How many phone numbers can you remember off the top of your head without your phone? I know my phone number. I know my mother's phone number. I know my sister's phone number. And that's pretty much it. I don't know. I don't know any more phone numbers. Everything else is saved. But back in the day, remember when you used to rattle off people's phone numbers off the top of your head? No problem. Today, it's going to be an issue trying to remember so many phone numbers. Okay? So, I don't know who said this. Smartphones, but dumb people. Smartphones are making us dumber. Essentially. Not all of us, but a good majority of us. So we need to find the balance between not being too attached to our phones and being able to disconnect from time to time. Trust me, we all need to disconnect, because just looking at the phone for too long, your eyes, everybody knows this, your eyes, it affects your eyes negatively. But I love how I started off. My beef was with the phone companies just solely making phone innovation about the cameras, to now how smartphones are making us dumb. But that's the purpose of this podcast, to go from point A to point B, and wherever we arrive is where we arrive. But I'm not going to go on for too long. That's just a little bit of what was on top of my head. Okay? Well, it wasn't on top of my head, but it was in my thoughts. But with that said, I want to thank you for coming back to listen to me talk and ramble and rant. And I hope you will come back and listen to the next one. All right? All right, Chaley. So with that said, bye.